Hello and welcome to ACS Golf, and today's video, which is a versus video. Basically put two clubs against each other and find out who is the winner. And this one today I'm really excited about because it is my current driver, the brand new Qi35 core model against the M2 from 2016. Some would say the GOAT of drivers when it comes down to Taylormade. I mean, Rory McIlroy just came out the other day and said this is his favourite driver and he wished he could still play it. It just says everything about it, doesn't it? So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to put these clubs against each other, and we're going to find out if there is actually any difference between these two apart from a hefty price tag. Now, as always, we'll have a closer look at these clubs, and then we'll come back here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the different technology that's in them. Then we're going to get down to the range, going to throw some figures at you, and then we're going to come back into here and discuss an overall winner between the two. One thing I will say is normally in these videos, I've already done the reviews of the clubs. I actually haven't done the reviews yet. Well, the full reviews anyway on the channel as of yet. The M2 will be coming out very shortly, so do subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon so you don't miss that. And the Qi35 will come out shortly as well, so you don't want to miss them, because overall, anyone watching this knows that both these drivers are fantastic. So first things first, let's have a close look at these clubs. So there you go, a closer look at them. And the Qi35, what an absolute gorgeous club. I love the look of it. I mean, that's the thing why I've actually been playing this year, to be honest. I played the Dark Speed Cobra last year, loved it, hit fairway after fairway, and was thinking about going for the DS this year. Was it going to improve my game? No, because let's be honest, brand new technology really hasn't changed over the past few years. So buying a new driver, it's just basically having a new shiny toy in the bag. It's not necessarily going to get you more distance, but you know, always like to put something new and shiny in the bag every year. So I was going to go for the DS until Taylormade reviewed. Taylormade released this, and I just had to put it in the bag because it's absolutely gorgeous. Not the first Taylormade driver I've ever played. You know, I played the Stealth 2, had that in the bag, and that was an absolute monster. Really enjoyed that club. So yeah, really happy with this in the bag. And the M2, it is a classic. I loved it when Taylormade did that with their clubs. You know, it looks absolutely stunning. Not great if you sky marked it, I will add, but you know, really cool looking club. Now let's get into the technology differences between these two. First things first, obviously carbon face, no carbon face. Twist face, which I still believe is in this, wasn't around in the M2. That came in around, I want to say Sim, but it might have been before that. I can't remember the top of my head. But yeah, so no twist face. Obviously carbon sole. This doesn't have a carbon sole, has a carbon head there. So same there, so both carbon tops. This had a carbon top that went all the way to the front there, sort of carbon crown there, save even more weight. Both, if you want maximum forgiveness, have a heavy weight at the back there to help with launch, but the Qi35 core does have that adjustability, which the M2 doesn't, so you can change the heavier weight and put it in the front to create more low spin, or have it at the back to increase MOI. This is actually a 9K driver, so 9K MOI with that weight at the back. It's pretty impressive for a core model, to be honest. So there you go. So obviously as well, I will add, speed pocket technology is still there. Look at that. There's the speed pocket. There's the speed pocket there. Obviously it's been refined over the years, but you know, it's still there to help with those low hits on the club face. So yeah, so there's a quick look into the technology between the two. Obviously a lot of carbon, and you could say a lot of changes. Obviously carbon face, I will add, no carbon face. But essentially, you know, They're still 460cc, that can't change. The aerodynamic shapes have changed a little bit. I would say that definitely got more of a bulge on this one, and you obviously got the moment of inertia sort of at the bottom there on the Qi35 as well. So definitely technology has moved along, but has it made a huge difference? Well, we will find out. Now, let's get down to the range. For the test, I've used the same shaft in both. So I've got my playing shaft, just the standard Ventus Blue. I think it's, yeah, 5S, so stiff. Love Ventus, my favourite shafts. Put the heavy weight at the back of the Qi35. Personally, I actually play it at the front, but I've moved it to the back for this review. Loft-wise, kept this as standard 10.5. Annoyingly, because you know, I couldn't find an M2. Well, there's lots of M2s out there, but I couldn't find an M2 at a good price because they're quite expensive what they are. So I managed to pick up a 9.5 degree head. So this was set to 10.25 degrees. So there's a slight difference. But believe me, really not that much. We're talking 0.25 degrees. So basically set up exactly the same. And you could say as well, the club face was closed a little bit, but on the day, I was fading. I'm normally a guy who hits a draw. On the day I was fading everything, so it didn't help. So there you go. But anyway, now let's get down to the range. I'm going to throw some figures at you, show some shots on both of these clubs, and then we're going to come back here and give an overall result. So yeah, very excited to see if there is an overall winner. Here I am down at the range with both clubs. Now, first off, you'll see a couple of, well, 4 shots with the Qi35 and then 4 shots with the M2. I have to admit, I wasn't hitting driving the best on the day, and also I was actually hitting into quite a bit of a headwind, which did affect the results. But anyway, let's get into those numbers. So on average, I had a carry of 226 yards for the Qi35, 247 yards for total distance, ball speed 150 miles per hour, launch angle 11 and height 73 feet, and a club head speed of 102 miles per hour. With the M2, I had an average of, wait for it, 224 yards carry, 246 yards total distance, ball speed 150 miles per hour, launch angle 11, height 71, and club head speed 102 miles per hour. So literally nothing between these guys. Now, what I did do as well after this actually is I took some balls onto the course and used the rad speed, which I'll give you those results in a second when we get back into the office. But going for the longest drive on the range, which is affected a little bit, as I mentioned, is affected by the wind. So longest was the Qi35, which I had a carry of 238 yards, total distance 251 yards, ball speed 156 miles per hour, launch angle 12 and height 86, while the longest with the M2 was 235 yards carry, 250 yards, total distance, ball speed 151 miles per hour, launch angle 13 degrees and height 88. So literally nothing between these two. They're literally exactly the same ball speed, exactly the same distance. You know, you could barely separate those figures in the table, you know, just, I mean, exactly the same. They are exactly the same. Nearly every single thing is the same. Yards, same. Distance, same. Ball speed, same. Launch angle, same. Height, same. Swing speed, same. There's nothing separating these two clubs apart from the price point. I will say, and I'll go further into it in a second, that the dispersion-wise, Qi35 was a lot tighter. The M2 was a little bit less forgiving, but that's what I sort of expect, to be honest. More modern day clubs, they definitely do have a little bit more forgiveness in there to keep that ball on the fairway rather than the bushes. But the M2, again, with that, wasn't that bad at all, to be honest. You just small misses here and there. Well, what can I say? All right, I'm not going to lie, the results of both the drivers weren't exactly what I'd expected to be with the swing speed I've got at the moment, but I was hitting into a headwind, so sort of headwind across me a bit, so probably that's why the ball went even further a little bit right. But, you know, I was hitting to headwind. You know, my pitching wedge normally goes 120 yards, went 100 yards on the day, so there was quite a headwind coming in. But, you know, still, they both tested under the same condition. I didn't test this on a nice sunny day where I had a headwind with me. You know, they were both tested at exactly the same time, so the results are fair in my mind. And so it's just ridiculous, insane, isn't it? You know, 2016, 2025, nearly 10 years between these two, and they're exactly the same. You know, carry, as I mentioned, the Qi35, 226 yards, total distance 247 yards, ball speed 150 miles per hour, launch angle 11 degrees, height 73 feet, club head speed around the 102 mark. The M2, 224 yards carry, 246 yards total distance, ball speed the same, 150 miles per hour, launch angle 11, height 71 feet, swing speed around the 102 miles per hour mark. I love doing these versus video because every time I do it and I put these drivers against each other, you just see they're exactly the same. There really isn't any difference when you look at the numbers. There is a bit of a difference, which I will mention at the end of this video, but there really isn't that much difference. I mean, I've seen a load of videos. Golf Bidder over here was secondhand store. You know, they did just a clip on Instagram the other day where they had their pro who went out, hit one Taylormade driver, and then hit the Qi35 Taylormade driver, and then hit the M2, and the M2 actually beat it. I don't know what settings they had it in. You know, you never know if they have the same settings, these things, but assuming, you know, the stock they have, they did. It just shows you, like, why are we spending all this money? I mean, this is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, I will say that, and I definitely prefer the looks of this one than this, and obviously you've got the adjustability, but you know, if you're an average golfer, you're going out there and you just want to pick up a club, you want it to go as far as possible down the sort of, you know, down the range, but also down on the golf course. You know, you don't need to be buying this, you can buy this, but as I mentioned, there is one difference. So there you go. Also, what I wanted to do is just test it a little bit, you know, on the actual golf course. So I took out the old Speed, there you go, ML2 Pro that is in there. Probably should have opened that up before starting the video, but there you go. Took that out, hit a few balls just on the course. So, you know, both relatively were, I was a little more better than on the range actually, because I don't swing as hard when I'm actually on the golf course. A little more controlled, still dodgy as hell, but a lot more controlled. You know, then 217 carry, 254, ball speed 145 miles per hour was the longest. 220, 253, ball speed 145 miles per hour the longest. Both had a smash factor of 1.42. I did do that at the end after hitting over 110 balls, so I'm not surprised that smash factor wasn't great and I didn't exactly hit the middle of the club. But, you know, again, it just showed. All right, on the fairway, this one did leak out a little bit more to the right than this, but they were getting down there exactly the same distance. Again, it just shows you how similar these two clubs are and how technology hasn't moved. You know, for every sort of brand, I think there's a point, especially with drivers, they've hit the max. With Cobra, I'd say it was the F9. With Titleist, you could sort of argue it was the TS. You know, with Callaway, it was a great big epic Bertha. Great big big Bertha epic. You know, 2016. I even played that over the winter actually, to be fair. And I was getting just as, I mean, I don't even know why I put this in a bag, to be honest, because that thing was working really well. You know, for that, it hit the sort of the boundaries there. You know, you can only have the face so thin, you know, the size of it as well. Ping, you could say the G400, you know, they've all hit that point where, you know, they say, oh, we're increasing MI, and they probably are increasing forgiveness a little bit, and maybe they're increasing the, you know, aerodynamics a little bit, but is your average golfer going to notice that? No. You put one of the, you know, the G400 in someone's hand and put the brand new G430, oh sorry, the G45, I think it's G455, G445 in their hand. There we go, finally got it out. Don't know why I picked those two, but anyway, you know, put them in your hands, they're probably going to get the same distance down, you know, down that fairway. All right, if you're a scratch golfer, you swing, you know, not like me, 103 miles an hour, you're swinging 110 plus, then yes, you might find a little bit of a difference, but distance-wise for your average golfer, there isn't anything. You know, the face can't be any thinner. You know, you can't have a smash factor above 1.5. That is the legal limit. It has to be 1.5. Can't go anything above it. If it does go above it, it is illegal. That's the whole point of that smash factor there. You know, you can't get above that. You know, it can only be 460cc. You know, there's all these parameters in there that means they can't improve these clubs anymore. So yeah, 2016 for me with the M2, it's definitely the point where I think they hit the max with Taylormade. Obviously they refined it and they definitely have maybe improved forgiveness, definitely consistency a little bit more. But yeah, overall, there's no difference in it. I mean, I know the longest at the range into the wind, you know, with this was 238 carry, 251 total distance, ball speed 156 miles per hour. That was a bit of a monster. But then, you know, the longest for this, okay, it was a little bit shorter, but, you know, it was 253. So, no, sorry, not 253, sorry. It was 250, so 250. The 253 is when I took out the, you know, the rad speed. So yeah, 250. I'm so excited about this, I can't get my words out, but yeah, 250. So you got 251 and then 250. It's just, all right, ball speed for this was only 153 miles per hour and this was 156, but, you know, I was just swinging a little bit faster for that, which I'm sure I could have done for that if I got the right swing in. You know, they are so similar, but there is one difference, and I will say that the dispersion was a lot better with the Qi35. It really was. The M2, my big misses where I was in the day was definitely fade, power fade, I'd say, you know, somewhat maybe slightly, was really quite more noticeably worse with the M2 over the Qi35. You know, so if you're putting a bad swing on it, this definitely helps you. This will punish you a little bit more. Get the same distance, but this will hopefully keep you on the fairway and this won't. And that's why you can say, all right, you're spending your money on a brand new club. But, you know, Qi35, brand new, £529. In the US, you're looking $599, I think, roughly. The M2 second-hand market, you're looking around $1,230 for one in relatively good condition, not as sort of worn as this one, I'd say, was around $160. You know, so you're talking about £400, you're talking about $430 difference between them. You know, and then maybe once around, this might be in the trees and this won't be. But they're still going the same distance. And if you're a confident ball striker, then hopefully you'll find a fairway each time with them. So I'll leave it up to you if you think it's worth £400 to lose one less golf ball around. You know, that £400 you could put to, well, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 lessons, and then you're hitting every single fairway with this regardless because you're striking it so much better. It's there. So let's have a quick conclusion before I ramble on even more about this. Yes, the Qi35 won it. It did win it. The dispersions were, well, it was a lot better dispersion with the ball. It was a lot more forgiving in my mind in keeping that ball on that fairway. And technically, on average, yes, I had one more yard. Really great. Absolutely fantastic. But, you know, with this is £400 cheaper. So who's the overall winner? Probably say this one. Go save yourself £400, buy this, enjoy it, it's great, you know, and have some lessons and become even better with this. There you go, that's my overall conclusion. All right guys, now I hope you've enjoyed this. Again, another versus video that proves for your average golfer there's barely any differences between these. There really isn't any differences between these, so there you go. Now, yeah, so there you go. Comment down below, you know, have you played with these drivers? If you have, what have you found between them? Also comment down below, what else do you like me to put the Qi35 against? Do you want me to put against a Sim 2? I did the Qi10 versus Sim 2 last year. You know, let me know if you want to put this, well, this absolute monster against other clubs, you know, because I'm happy to do it. I love the versus videos. I've got some good ones coming up. I've got the Cobra actually coming up. I'm going to be putting the Cobra DS Adapt LS versus the Dark Speed LS, the previous model, see if there's any differences there. So yeah, lots of cool versus videos coming up. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below, and obviously do subscribe to the channel and do like this video if you enjoyed it. All right guys, hope you enjoyed this, well, versus video, and as I mentioned, technically the winner, but let's be honest, with £400 saved, that's got to be the winner, hasn't it? All right guys, I'll catch you soon for the next ACS golf review. See you then. Bye-bye.